I must say that the Cat and the Canary was not the greatest play ever written in America, but it's certainly one of the most enduring. It's been said that at any given night, there is a production, either amateur or semi-professional, of the play somewhere in the world being presented. It all began in 1922 down on 41st Street in the National Theater. The theater still stands. It's where Rent played, I believe, for about a decade. And it was so successful that they had to change the direction of 41st Street. It was a two-way street, and they converted it to a one-way street to just handle the crowds. The reviews were, I think, what they call money reviews. It made it sound so exciting that it was an enormous, enormous success. In 1927, Universal filmed a silent version directed by Paul Lenny, a very, very well-known German director. And in 1930, Universal remade it as a talking film. And they didn't call it The Cat and the Canary, they called it The Cat Creeps. And that year, this was before foreign language dubbing, they made a Spanish language version, as they did with the Bela Lugosi version of Dracula. In 1939, the property went to Paramount Pictures, and it was made with Bob Hope and Paulette Goddard. They changed it somewhat. Instead of a 20-year span from the beginning to the reading of the will, it was 10 years. And I had heard from one of the actors in Cat and the Canary with Bob Hope that he showed up the first day of shooting with his army of gag writers, and Elliot Nugent, the director, who himself had played in the play several times, said that this was a book comedy, not a series of gags. And it was very influential in churning Bob Hope's career from just a gag man to a book comedian. The film was then frozen for 25 years because the original, John Willard, the author, felt that he was not dealt with very successfully by Hollywood, and his widow refused to have any more remakes. But 25 years later, the rights were being represented by Raymond Rohauer, a name familiar to all film collectors. And at that time, I had done a series of 5 highly erotic movies, and it was actually more like 8 movies because we did 2 versions. And I was ready for something completely different. And the rights became available, and I took them to a very close professional and personal friend, Richard Gordon, who was excited by the idea. I must say we're very happy because Richard Gordon is here in attendance, and you know, a picture is never better than its producer. And I don't think I've ever said this publicly, but if you get a dictionary and you look up the word producer and you don't see Richard Gordon's picture, then you don't have a very good dictionary. He was a really supportive, unifying force during the whole production. And we had little trouble casting the movie until we got Edward Fox, and everybody wanted to be in a movie with Edward Fox. We did have a problem with the role of the lawyer. Everybody turned us down. Robert Morley turned us down. Charles Boyer turned us down. James Mason turned us down. And I don't know exactly where the idea came from. It might have been from the second version of The Maltese Falcon. In the first version, the role of Gutman is played by Dudley Diggs, and in the third version, played by Sidney Greenstreet. But in the second version, it was played by a woman. And since we couldn't get an actor, we got the idea of changing the role to a woman, and with very little rewriting. And we presented the part to Dame Wendy Hiller, who accepted it right away. And the last element in the casting was the house. As it was a one-set movie, the house was really important. And we were very lucky to find Perfect Court, which is quite a spectacular place. I was a little nervous because it had already been in a movie. It was in The Omen with Gregory Peck. And I made a point of not going to see it until long after we did our film. And it was okay because the approach to the house was very different, the two films. So I thank you all for coming. And on behalf of everybody who came to the village of Cobham, southeast of London, and gave their very, very best efforts 33 years ago. Thank you.